was somebody, right? Like somebody kind
Didn't it? Wasn't like did Glenn O'Brien was he an early writer for High Times?
of definitely.
Right. But I don't know who it
It
was
one
that
of those
started.
type of
I
guys.
forgot the name of the person who actually, but he was. It was out of that same building, out of 9 Bleecker,
That makes sense.
and yeah, the place is rich with history. If you go there, the walls going up the stairs are covered with collages, and they are original to like the over the they probably date back to the 70s. A lot of newspaper clippings and stuff like that.
Wow.
It's pretty. It's like a definitely a shrine for for a certain history period and episode
Right.
in New York, in Lower Manhattan history. Not New York. I mean, New York has all sorts of echelons
Yeah, pockets
and
of yeah.
levels of social whatever, and that's not exactly the high life,
Right.
right? It's not the Upper East Side.
We're good. Just talk to me real quick.
Me?
Yep.
You?
All right. Good, good. And just give me a clap whenever you're ready. Boom. And
We're live? Estás bem? Welcome to season 6 of the Super P podcast. Feliz Ano Novo. It is I, Polo Parata, with a special guest to open up this season, legendary artist, musician, Mr. Al Diaz.
How you doing?
How you doing, brother?
I'm good.
So let's start the show off. I was at your show last night, and let me tell you, it was packed to the gills, a line all the way around the corner. So let's talk about that. What was the show about?
Well, the show was a walk through a timeline of a New York specific or New York centric graffiti culture history.
Yeah.
Starting with the like appearance or the people first noticing the name Julio 204, which was probably the first name number graffito, single piece of graffiti to be seen, and which spawned other people who kind of imitated that format and created what has become graffiti culture, or evolved into
Right.
and it was Julio who sparked it pretty much. So it follows through into like the period by period how it just proliferated and became something that started out as a youth generated street culture and has become what it is today, which is this whole there's you have people you have manufacturers of paint that sponsor events. It's like
Right.
it has become so huge and what people don't the story that's not really told is how it evolved as a like basically a street sport almost, like a competitive street thing, and became this thing, and
Right.
and it kind of that story needs to be told because that's how it happened. It didn't just
Right.
come from a vacuum. It didn't just like and the people who have in the past presented the story. I mean, Beyond the Streets touched upon that, and they didn't. Roger has always done responsible storytelling, but it wasn't completely New York centric, and it didn't go follow through play by play as to how it has become what it has become. And some people who do only focus on like the greatest hits, and that's just not enough of a story because it kind of leaves out all the really, the real beautiful stuff, which
Right.
is, the culture and all the fact that a bunch of kids created this thing, and it's something that needs to be celebrated.
Yeah, because it was a great night. I mean, it was a who's who of graffiti in there in that room.
Yeah, the Taki 183, man, that was to me was the. I mean, when I saw Taki there, I was like, all right, we have arrived.
Right.
Here it is. This is it. But I mean, yeah, there was all kinds of, and it was great because it was rowdy, but it was peaceful. Everybody was happy. It was the who's who of early, the early New York graffiti, and some later players, and so it was a couple of generations there, and it was I was really happy. I was very pleased with the turnout.
You were getting bombarded.
It was difficult. I mean, I was talking with my lady, and it's like she's like, I felt like you abandoned me. I was like, well, I did it. It wasn't like I did that without.
No,
it's just so I couldn't even I didn't have a chance to look at my phone to see the people. People were like, "Yo, I'm outside."
Right.
And I didn't even. It was crazy, and it was.
because me and Trevor tried to get your attention, and as soon as we tried,
as soon as we would have a conversation, it would be like a couple of words, and then I was like, "What happened to those guys?" Because I was somewhere else. It was insane.
Yeah,
and it's always like that when it comes to crowds and you being the person who's like conducting the event or whatever.
Right.
Because it's hard to. I mean, you can't be in two places at once, or in two and that's another thing that gets crazy. It's almost annoying when people when you have cross conversations, like 5 people talking.
Oh yeah, we saw you do that.
It's crazy. Yeah,
and we saw you do that first.
Stop, please. I gotta go over here and we can talk about it here. But it's like blah blah blah. It's insane. But I'm really grateful of that. The fact that it was that crazy because. It was, we kind of, I mean, yeah, that was on the wish list. I hope it turns out to be as big as we wanted. We wanted it to be, to touch, to reach out to the whole entire graph community and art lovers. And, it's not just, first of all, the show is designed it reads like, so that someone who doesn't know about graffiti can understand it.
Right.
It's not written in jargon or in slang, so that it's you have to know what the graffiti lingo to understand it. Right. So it's very outsider friendly in that sense.
Does it? I wanted to ask you a question because I saw it firsthand. Does it bother you when it's like you're like trying to, and then like one person come up, then another person come up? Like, do you ever get bothered?
I mean, it could get a little bit flustering, bothered. You gotta you gotta be grateful and you gotta be gracious and like try to even. I mean, there's always like there was one person who was obnoxious yesterday, and it was because he came up to me with Martha's spray can art, whatever, and he's like he wants me to sign Keith Haring's page. I'm like, I'm not gonna sign Keith's because I knew Keith or something. Right. I'm not going to sign his photograph.
Right.
And then he says, okay, so sign this one. And he points to Basquiat. Right. Now that's even an even more sensitive. I was like, now there's no way that I'm going to even entertain that.
Right.
That to me is very weird. It's like, I'll put no, that's not ever going to happen.
Right.
And it was not the first time. That happened to me once when I did the show at 57 Great Jones, where this guy brought in his whole Basquiat kit, and he wanted me to sign it. I was like, no way, dude. That has nothing to do with me. It was like one of those Art Star products, by the Art Star company. I was like, there's no way in hell that I'm going to sign that. And that's just and I wanted him to. I wasn't trying to be angry at him, but I wanted him to understand that was a negative. There was no chance in fucking hell that I was going to do that.
Right.
And he better get it from the first, right from the giddy up, and don't try to ask me 10 times about it. Same thing with the guy last night. So that was the only time when I felt like, no, this is not going to work. Because it's like, you're busy with 10 people asking you something, and this one guy asks you to do the same thing or a similar thing 4 times. And I was like, okay, enough.
Right.
So see you later. And he was like, okay, bye. And if we walked away pissed off, I couldn't care less.
See, Al, you know what I think it is? I just think some people. Oh, it's all right. We'll find it. We're finding the water, guys.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. No, we're good.
I need a step.
No, it's all right. But we have recovered the water.
Finding the water. All right, so.
But now what I'm saying is, Al, you know what I think it is? I just think some people, in a sense, are just the ignorance.
Yeah, it's
that
ignorance.
they show. Yeah, like we all know you have a connection with Basquiat and this and that, but then people just take it to an extreme, and like you're like an extension, like you're your
Right,
own
right.
artist.
Like I'm,
you know what I'm
I'm,
saying?
I'm like a conduit
Yeah,
to the
you're
dead
your
guy,
own
to
artist.
the famous dead guy.
Yeah, no
and
matter-
that is not
Yeah.
acceptable to me,
Right.
because that, imagine if Samo was the only thing I did in my life, I would kill myself.
Right.
Because that was a long time ago,
Mhm,
guys.
mhm.
That was a long time ago. I've done a lot of other stuff.
Right.
Some stuff that's not so good, and some stuff that's wonderful.
Right.
But I've had it. I mean, I'm 63. I'm not,
Right.
19 anymore. So it's a different thing. Yeah. But that can be a little frustrating.
Yeah.
Some people just they don't get it. They're like,
They don't, but they don't want to get it. That's what I'm saying.
it's like, instead of saying, hi, how are you?
Right.
It's like, so what was Basquiat like?
Yeah.
It's like, that's not a good way to start a
Exactly.
conversation, man.
Especially since you lived, you lived it. So they're trying to get, whatever they want to
everybody
get.
wants a piece of
Yeah.
it's the cult of the personality.
Mhm.
And it becomes, and then he becomes meaningless because he's like a Che Guevara t-shirt,
Right.
It doesn't mean anything anymore.
Right.
So that's what's become. You see it every day. I walk on the subway, you see people with, like crown tattoos or what. It's just the not any crown. I'm talking about the Basquiat crown.
Right.
It's just endless.
Yeah.
You see people that probably have no idea who that was, and wearing the logo or whatever.
Don't even know the history.
So
behind
it becomes meaningless.
Right.
And that's part. That has to do with the way that his legacy has been handled.
Yeah. Well,
we don't want to talk about that, but. But it's, I mean, obviously that's a result of that.
Right. The commercial.
That's the only reason
the
that
commercial
something like
aspect of
that could exist or could happen.
Mm-hmm. But with your stuff, so what have you been working on lately besides the art show? I know you did.
Well, that show, I had a show in Toronto, which I was working on at the same time.
Wow.
So concurrently
Right.
with this, which was kind of a little bit of a distraction, and it put a lot more work on Mariah, in terms of.
Right.
But I mean, I had to get this. This was a big show. And it was the first time I showed internationally, really in that capacity.
Yeah.
Is going to Toronto, which is a lovely city, and I had to prepare for it. I had to make certain works for it. A lot of the work was already made because it was kind of not a remake, but an extension to the show I did last fall in New York City at Vanderplas Gallery called We Were Samo, which is, once again, it was trying to tell that story, trying to clarify that story, that narrative.
Right.
And it was very effective because people started to get that, because it was part of me trying to deal with that problem,
Right.
and with that bothers me when people, we just spoke about that.
Yeah.
So they invited me to do this in Toronto, and I was like, okay, but some of that work from the previous show, from We Were Samo, had been sold, so I made some pieces and I added some stuff to complete the narrative.
Right.
And so anyway, I was pretty busy with that over the summer, just preparing for that. And
I know you did a show in West Chelsea Contemporary too.
Well, yeah, I've been in working with West Chelsea Contemporary since, I guess early this year. We had a show with them in Austin,
Yeah, well,
which was really great.
Austin,
that was
New York,
wonderful. They brought me down there. It was really excellent. And I have a relationship now. They own some of my work, and they have some stuff on consignment.
Right.
And the owner, Gary Seals, has, shown a lot of interest in doing, having me do some print stuff with the gallery.
Right.
They do.
Yeah, they got a little gift shop.
They do that. They bought a bunch of books and a bunch. So I have a good relationship with West Chelsea Contemporary, and I do have. They do have they own some of my work. So, and it's a beautiful gallery. The space here and in Austin are both really really nice.
The Austin one is bigger, right?
It's a lot bigger.
A lot bigger, yeah.
But it's yeah. So I've enjoyed a good relationship with them. You know.
No, they're really good people.
Yeah, they really are.
No, they're really good
are.
people.
Excellent people.
But what? So, are you working on anything new now? Or
well, I'm gonna go to. I've been invited to go to Barcelona in March.
Yeah.
Which is pretty exciting. I got my ticket and everything.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, right.
You'll be out.
So what this guy Balu he's a Basque street artist who resides in and has a gallery by the name of Canal Gallery in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Who was in New York for he was here twice, and he's a big supporter of New York graph and street art.
Right.
And he just took an interest in me and people like Coco 144 and Flint ... And we've been doing stuff.
Right.
You know, we sent work out there to his Barcelona gallery. And now he brought cornbread out there, and he was like, they were going around the streets of Barcelona.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw any of those footage. It was funny. The dude's tagging in broad daylight. It's insane. It was really funny.
Yeah.
But it's like cornbread goes to Barcelona. So he's invited me to go out there, and what we're talking about is using like signage from their metro system and me cutting that stuff up and doing what I do here over there, you know, and then showing the stuff. They're working to create a bunch of stuff, which is pretty cool. I mean, to do something where you go to another city, use their materials and produce stuff for a show there, and it's gonna be 10 days worth of
so 10 days, so you're gonna but you're gonna be having fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Barcelona,
be having fun, and of course he's gonna document it, and it's gonna be a whole, you know,
nice
Instagram thing, right?
You're gonna see Al in the streets of Barcelona,
so it should be cool.
Kicking a soccer ball,
hopefully.
like football, go.
So that's something that I'm looking forward to, but yeah, and then I you know, I have a bunch of stuff I want to do in the next coming year or so.
That's what I'm saying. Like, as far as projects, are you just like?
Well, I mean, I really want to put together another book, and that would be the wet paint project book, because I have so much material from that.
Right.
I've been doing that since basically 2009.
Wow.
And there's a lot of material. So and so I want to, you know, I'm going to talk about it. It's an interesting process, and I mean, it's a constrained writing, you know, and I've made, you know, funny rules for myself, like you know, I only use subway letters and subway icons and the wet paint signs, and that's my alphabet.
Right.
So, I mean, it's expanded over the years, but I mean, the whole process has been really great. And, and when you look at the earlier stuff and you look at the stuff now, and subject matter and what I'm able to do with anagram is, I mean, even, you know, it's impressive. I think it's pretty, you know, I've been like, wow, I've fucking really evolved with this stuff, and it's pretty cool.
So as far as like subject matter, like you said something that I want to touch on, like what are you focusing on now, as far as, because a lot of your stuff, it always tells a story. It's always of something. Like, what is your subject matter now?
It's just everyday observations, really,
yeah.
You know? I mean, it could be anything. It could be of a political nature, of a social nature, human quirkiness, relationships, sadness, just, you know, I mean, emotions. It's whatever. It's just life, you know, like stuff that we all. The thing is this. The idea is the essential. I mean, the bottom line is to try to express something that everybody could relate, or most people could relate to. You know, something really human.
Right.
And I think a lot of that stuff is what it is. Is people, you know, have a lot of the same feelings. You know.
Yeah, because you know, there's a lot of depressed people out here. So I think, like, your artwork, a couple other people's stuff, it kind of like when they see it, it kind of uplifts them.
Well, that's good. Or I mean, sometimes it does. You know, it has a. It's not always positive. Sometimes it's like, look how fucked up things are. You know?
But you need that reality check.
But it's a reality check, is right? Because I mean, otherwise you can't do anything about something if you don't see it or if you don't admit it. It's it's like that's how it is with adversity. You know.
Because I know we've all been through adversity, so it's like,
well, yeah, and we can overcome adversity. So, I mean, life is work, dude. It's work.
It is.
Getting up and going through the day is work, and you make it worthwhile. Because no matter what, if you want to keep going on, you got to. It's just work. And life is short, man. Life is short.
Yeah, man. People dropping every day. It's sad to say, but
it's like I think back on you walking through that show with the graffiti, and I remember that stuff, and it wasn't that long ago,
right?
And I'm 63. In 20 years, I'll be 83 if I'm still alive. My father died when he was 86, and he had a good, ripe, long life. So it's like you think about that shit as like it's a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
And in the grand scheme of things, we're here for a real short time,
Well,
so as a result, it's good to like utilize all the time that you can, and make it work for you, and just squeeze in as much as you can.
Yeah. Because once it's over, it's over.
Yeah, it's over.
Or that's what they say. We don't know. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
So wait, so you haven't gotten to that point. You're not too tired.
I'm still going.
I'm saying.
I'm still going. I still feel a little bit young. I feel a little old too.
I feel a lot old. I feel a lot old. After my 5th kid,
Oh wow.
That was it. I was like, oh, I am old. You know what I'm saying? Got teenagers and a grown son.
Teenagers, yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's it. But what was this? So do you have a favorite piece that you've done, recent or
the favorite piece? I think is still the right now.
Yeah, because that could change.
I mean, I find old drawings that drawings. Like lately, I've rediscovered all these drawing books that I it's not like I didn't know they were there.
Right.
I just went through them. Right?
Yeah.
And I found some stuff that's just like golden. I'm like, oh, this shit is funny.
Right.
If you could crack your own self up, that's good, right?
Right.
So
you gotta be able to laugh at yourself.
Like I posted those like the guys with the droopy pants, dude, and that shit was funny, man. And it was well done and stuff.
Right.
And so I started going through and I'm like, wow, some of these are really good. So that's nice, is to find old stuff that you did.
Right.
But in terms of like recent work, I'm still very proud of the piece I did. I did 2 versions of it, one on canvas and one was on a rigid panel it's about 9 feet long, and it's been commissioned to consigned, not commissioned. Yeah. I'm sorry, consigned to West Chelsea Contemporary.
Oh, okay.
It's that long piece that says a familiar scent remains. Yeah, and it's got a cityscape that I did. It started out as a collage. I have the original collage at home. It's like on 8.5 tall paper and it runs about 5 feet long. Now it's collage strips that just added on, and I glued it, and I created this cityscape that really doesn't exist, but it's just patched together using the same horizon line and stuff. And that piece is just a section of it that shows like tenements with laundry lines on the outside. Yeah. And it's a place that doesn't really exist, but it's based on a place that does exist.
Right.
And that's with the text on it, and it says names and faces fade as time passes, a familiar scent remains. And that's just, it's like about memory and about nostalgia and about melancholy. And it's just, it's a sentimental piece, but it's 4 feet tall and it's 9 feet long, and it's colorful, yet it's mostly black and white screen print. And it's, to me, I'm really, the fact that me and Gary put that together, I use his technical assistance to put my concept on this big panel.
Right.
And I'm really proud of that piece.
I think they had that up when you did the thing over there. I think
when I did the thing over there
I think I saw it.
Yeah, it was out. It's there.
Yeah.
And it was.
I know they switch up like they'll put this.
We brought that down to Austin. I had the other version, which is on canvas, and that's up in Toronto. Yeah. It's similar, but the color is different on the background.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I saw it.
It's interesting because it's printed on bookbinding material, which is kind of like weird fibery stuff.
Yeah.
But it's cool. So it was this all experimental kind of thing that we did with this material. It worked. I think it worked better on the rigid panel.
Yeah.
But they're both, they both have a different flavor.
How long did it take to complete it?
A couple of weeks, I guess, with the process of making the screens, doing the screen, because it's so big that you had to lay the screens on the panel itself. So you couldn't do it on the press. Yeah, that was it's also really important as an artist, for me to keep learning stuff. Right. And then technique and all that stuff. And working with someone,
you expand your expertise.
Right. It's working with someone like Gary, who's a master printer.
Right.
You learn. And more than that, it's a great artist. He's willing to experiment. He's like a mad scientist, and you learn stuff from people like that.
Right.
It's if you stop learning, that's when you get old. As you get stale.
Yeah. Well, we know you're not stale.
No, you get, because you're like rigid.
Right.
That kind of rigidity can
Right.
That slows you down.
But do you ever get to a point where you have like a block where you just feel like you can't create?
I mean, I haven't had much of that. I mean, it's if I do, it's usually an external thing that causes something like that, like some sort of issues in life, But it could actually, creating can actually remove that block,
right.
So it's kind of like it's almost a therapy thing, You just, I don't know. It's I gotta keep moving. It's easy to get into a funk. For me, I try to just just not let stuff just wear me down too much anymore.
So you just do like enough and then kind of like chill, and you do like you pick it back up.
Or I you know what it is? It's like, okay, right now I'm doing a project that like this thing was. It's more educational type thing. So it's not the same thing as making a bunch of work for an art show.
Right.
These are didactic panels and telling a history. So what you do is you change it up. Tomorrow I got to do a talk at St. Francis College.
Oh wow.
So all these doing all this different stuff keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
You're not always doing the same thing,
right.
Oh, I'm a painter, and all you do is you fucking splatter paint on your pants, and
it keeps you
stinks like Lindsay,
it keeps you going, Al. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're an artist. You do like a shit ton of different things,
right? Right.
For me personally.
Yeah, but that's good for anybody. Like, you should always have a mixture of everything. You know what I'm saying? A jack of all trades.
Well, now in this time and in history, I think that it works pretty well.
Yeah, and I mean, especially like artists like you guys are very in demand. So you probably getting stuff from every direction but up. You know what I'm saying? Do this, do that. Can you do this? Can you do that?
It's gotten to a point where I can actually make a living. So that's a blessing because I got really good basic training. I was in construction for 30 something years and at least 35 years before I was able to make a living as an artist, right? But what I did learn was first of all how to make stuff, which is really helpful. Second of all, how to work, because you got to work.
Right.
I mean, being an artist is a full-time job.
Right.
Like you got to bust your ass kind of thing if you want to succeed.
Right.
And just by having that kind of, I mean, I was a construction foreman, but I built a lot of things, and in under pressure with with people yelling at you and all that, and you learn how to tolerate a certain level of tolerance with getting stuff done, and you just follow through. You just do it, do it, do it. If you have to stay there late, you do it because it's not all time to go. You got to finish this,
Right.
and that's it's. So it instills a certain drive, a certain mentality in you that's how you work, and that's why I like people like Gary Lichtenstein, because it has or people with that work ethic, because it's about work. It's not like, oh, let's go, okay, now that we did this, let's go, to the bar or whatever.
Let's have a drink.
Yeah. It's time to do the next thing, right?
Yeah. No, but I think that's what keeps you active, keeps you going, because you have that mentality.
Yeah, I think it's beneficial.
Right. You have you dabbled and dabbled in I know they're having artists do a lot of the NFT stuff.
I have no interest in I mean, I did actually I did one thing that was hideous. I was like, I didn't do it.
You're right.
I supplied like the imagery,
right,
and it was just so awful. I was like, what? It's just I have yet to be. First of all, the biggest problem is that the language. I don't. It's like you might as well speak like some shit from like Pluto, because I don't know what you're talking about. So if I can't understand it, I'm not really game for it. It's like, yo, let's do this. Like, what is it that we're doing exactly?
Right.
So I can't say yes if I don't understand it. And that's really the biggest problem I've had with that, is that everybody has the best way to do it. Everybody has the easiest way to explain it, and you still walk away not understanding, like it's too confusing, and I'm not that interested in it.
Right.
So you combine those two elements.
Like that's a hard no.
Down, bro.
That's a hard no, guys.
A hard no. So yeah, but it seems like it's the fever has cooled off.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, well, people losing $1 billion.
Well, that'll do it.
That'll do it.
$1 billion. What is $1 billion?
Apparently nothing to these guys, because they just lost it.
Imagine.
But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I just thought it was weird when it's like, oh, we'll put the art on an NFT, and I don't know. I'm kind of like with you. I don't know.
It doesn't.
It's not physical.
It doesn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm a caveman. It doesn't resonate with with my sensibility. I'm just old school. Talk about old school. That's like real. It's like if I can't pick it up and throw it across the room, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, really. Just throwing up. He's throwing air.
You know what I mean, though? It's just I'm tactile. I like to cut cardboard. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like a pair of scissors or something.
He needs physical items.
Yeah.
Not make believe.
Anyway, whatever. But I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with digital art, but I'm just not a participant of that that movement, that world. The only thing, thank God for social media, because social media has assisted in in getting the word out and stuff like that. But that is that's media. That's not
right.
It's not. I don't see that as an art form.
Yeah, because it definitely helps like to push like your art and stuff
no
you
doubt,
got going
no
on.
doubt.
Like it just goes everywhere.
But but it's like radio and television.
Yeah.
With our version, our present day version of those those mediums.
Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely true. So we're gonna wrap this up in a little while. But is there anything else you have going on that you want to tell the world of podcasting that you're doing, or what's coming up, or something that we can look forward to?
Well, there's the in about I think it's December 3rd. I got to check the date. December 3rd, I believe. We're going to be, excuse me, we're going to be opening the part 2 of the City of Kings, a history of New York City graffiti show at 250 Bowery, where we're showing photographs and
Oh, so
some
that's
canvases by, people like we're gonna have Martha Cooper, Henry Chalfant, David Gonzalez from the New York Times, probably some stuff from Charlie Ahern and
nice.
Flint. Who else? Some canvases that are owned by old school graffiti canvases owned by Snake One from his collection, and a few other people who I can't think of right offhand. Oh, a painting by Crime 79, who was our printer, who did the wonderful printing job of at the 6 East First Street gallery show. And so we're doing that. The I believe it's December 3rd, and it's at 250 Bowery. But I'm gonna check the dates on that and keep and do a social media blast.
Right.
Also, we're gonna also have two. Martha's gonna do a book signing. I damn it, I don't have the info in front of me, and for the dates. But we're gonna have some scheduled programming at 6 East First Street, including 2 art talks. With the first art talk is the birth of a culture, which is probably we're gonna have, I believe, Jester, we were trying to we asked Taki. I don't know if Taki's gonna be able to make it, but Mike 171, a few old really first generation, right? Jester, I think I mentioned Jester, and Terror 161. Jay Edlin is going to facilitate that conversation, and then that's December 10th. That I'm completely sure about that. So it should be a pretty. Oh, Coco 144 is also on the panel,
right?
So that should be a really cool conversation for any graph fans out there. And then we have with Carla McCormick facilitating a talk on. I forgot what see, here we go. I'm really. I wish I had the schedule with me, but I'm gonna update this information.
Right.
But it's gonna be Crash, Lee, some other more later 70s writers talking about the mainstreaming of graffiti.
Okay.
How graffiti became a commodity.
Right.
So that's going to happen, but we have some programming coming up for this City of Kings show, and I'll keep you updated.
And the actual City of Kings show is still going on.
That's going to go on.
That's going to go on for like a month, right?
Until the 19th or so of January.
Yeah, so it's going to go on.
So it's gonna go on for a while.
So you can still go and check it out.
Oh yes, it's open today.
It's amazing.
Sunday today. Sunday it's open until 6 o'clock, and then Wednesdays through Sunday at 6 East First Street. Monday, Tuesday close. From 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Well, those are better times than the opening. We only had 2 hours.
Oh yeah, there was
It was 6 to 8.
But a lot of people showed up. It was supposed to be friends and family of 5.
Right.
But it got leaked out, and we had a lot more than just friends and family. So it was actually 3 hours.
Right.
Yeah,
it definitely got leaked out.
You got
because when you saw the line around the block, that was a big leak.
Yeah. But that was great. I'm glad that it was appreciated by so many people.
Yeah, man, a lot of people.
I know a lot of people love graffiti, and want to. I think it's really, really important, if you really love it, is to learn a little about it, because it just makes it more enjoyable when you know something about it.
No, because there's graffiti fans worldwide. So
yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the other thing that we're trying to illustrate in this, is that it's become a global phenomenon, and it's because of our first generation writers that it's become what it's become. It wouldn't have happened had you not had that Julio 204.
Right.
It just couldn't have happened.
Right.
And that's a story worth telling.
Mm-hmm. Nah, but we glad that you providing it for the masses and the fans. And man, it's just awesome to go into an environment where it's like it's mad graffiti on the wall and it's like a whole story. And then they had the board where you can sign.
There we got the boards to sign. Yeah, I made that especially. And there's a Roger Gassman quote on it. So
I'm glad you made the board. Because everybody was writing on it. Everybody was like, wow, here's the board. Where's my marker?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, man, that was amazing, man. But yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. You know, it's where can they find you online, Al? If you want them to find
you can find me at Albert_Diaz1 Instagram, and that's pretty much it. I mean, unless you Facebook is Albert Diaz. Yes. Nobody uses Facebook.
Nah.
And Twitter's on its way out. So
oh yeah.
I think I had a Twitter account, and I never used it. I don't tweet.
Elon done screwed that up.
I said, Machete don't tweet. No.
Elon done messed that up. That's a wrap.
That's right. So that's over.
A wrap. Twitter is out the door. I'll give it a couple more weeks.
That's what they said. A couple of weeks.
Yeah, it'll be gone. And then we're gonna go to something else. What's gonna be the new thing?
Something else.
You know, what's gonna be the new
empty
thing?
slot right there. So there's always somebody waiting online to fill it.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, we could keep on talking for hours, but it is Sunday, and I know everybody has to do things on Sunday.
Or to chill.
You know, get the chilling on. My Cowboys are playing the 425, so I gotta get ready to accept the loss or accept the win. You know what I'm saying? Take it like a man, as they say. Josh, you over there? Oh, okay, Josh. Anyway, you can find us on Instagram, the Super P Podcast. We're on every podcast provider. If you want to get this episode today, patreon.com, sign up, and you can hear Mr. Al talk about everything and anything. If not, you can wait and see the video, which is going to come out, I don't know, but it will come out when I finish it. Yeah. Al, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Always welcome to come back.
Absolutely.
You know, and chat. Trevor, thanks for setting this up, my man Trevor. We had a wild time last night. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next episode. Super Podcast. Ciao.
Adios.
Yes, we out of here.